This is the Symphony of the Seas, and back in 2018 she was the largest cruise ship in the world, with world-class dining, endless entertainment and jaw-dropping experiences. But is it any good, and what does it all really cost? Not just the base fare, but extras like speciality dining, drinks packages, internet access, excursions, and are there any casino perks? And a spoiler alert, it's America, so there are a lot of automatic tips. And to add some drama, I'm taking this cruise in hurricane season down to Port Canaveral, Nassau, and finishing off at Royal Caribbean's private island in the Bahamas. In this video I'm going to show you everything I spent on my Symphony of the Seas cruise, and I can guarantee you will be shocked at the final invoice. We're sailing from Cape Liberty in New Jersey. Our bags are checked and embarkation doesn't take long. We access the ship on deck 5, which is the Royal Promenade level, which I'll fully explore later in the video. Our room is located 4 floors up on deck 9, but this is the wait for the elevators, so the stairs it is. And for this trip we have room 639. This room is called the Promenade View Interior, which basically means it's an inside room with a view. And seeing though this was the cheapest room I could find for this cruise, which I'll tell you the price in a minute, this is the biggest inside cabin I think I've ever had. Got a wardrobe, decent size, with a few coat hangers. Got the retro looking thermostat for the heating, put it down there, about there. Then there's a side table. We've got a little desk and plugs and USB sockets and a light switch for the big round mirror. And then we've got some more storage space, some drawers and a fridge with nothing in it, which is a good thing because if it's a mini bar they're usually expensive, so no temptation there. Nice big sofa there, quite easily get another person in this room, it's that big. Another wardrobe space there, so 2 in all, which is decent size. The bed looks a little bit dented in the middle, if I'm going to be honest. The sides look high and then it sort of like slumps into the middle. I take it back, it's not actually that dented, feels alright, comfortable. This ship was built in 2018, so what's that? 7 years old. So yeah, it's got 7 years worth of people being lay on it. I don't think I like the idea of that. Anyway, I haven't bought that little torch that shows up any, of those untoward stains, so probably best leaving that for someone else to do. A couple of bedside lights, and then we've got a decent sized TV. And then there's, I don't know what that is. Like a lounge in the window type of thing. And then a pretty good view. I'm overlooking, I think, what is called the Central Park. So this is actually outside, even though you're in the middle of the ship. I think if you look up, which I can't do because I can't get the camera that far up, it's actually outside. I always think bathrooms on these cruise ship cabins are the ones that could actually ruin the cabin. I think this bathroom matches the cabin. Really big, for an inside cabin. I mean, what can you say about a bathroom really? We've got a bathroom light, we've got a sink and we've got a toilet. And again, when you book these inside cabins, I expect everything to be absolutely tiny. Tiny shower, tiny bathroom, tiny room. But this is actually a decent size. Don't think you're getting 3 people in it or anything like that, but it is a really big shower for a small room. And we've got some Salt and Breeze, double duty, hair and body wash. But I think I've just used the body wash. I just noticed that light switch. I thought that was off, but that's on, and that's off. Is that normal then? And the cabin has cost £1,348, which for this I think is really, really good value. But we need to rewind to yesterday because there's costs before we've actually got onto this cruise. We stayed in New York City last night and it cost £300 for quite possibly the smallest hotel room in New York City. And then we had to get a cab over to New Jersey, which is only 18 miles. And in the end, it took about an hour and a half and cost $90, which is about $20 cheaper than an Uber. So the crew's already on just over £1,700 and we've not left port yet, but we are about ready to sail away from the iconic New York skyline. But we just have to wait for the MSC Meraviglia, I think that's how you pronounce it, to leave first. Deck 16 is starting to fill up, but there's still time for what I think might be line dancing. Anyway, I'm more interested in seeing how close the ship gets to this bridge. Supposedly, there's a couple of meters spare. And as the crowd goes wild, we'll be back here in 7 days' time. Back at the room, our first case has arrived, which is my wife's. Hopefully, mine turns up soon. Even though the majority of the food venues, which I'll explore all of them at some point in this video, are included in the cruise cost, there are some that have an extra charge, Johnny Rockets being one of them. It's a set price of $18 each, and that gets you 2 sides, a main and a dessert. This has to be the most unhealthy start to a cruise though, ever. Cheesy bacon fries, chili, chicken sandwich and an ice cream sundae. Can't keep this going for the whole 7 days. I'm going to be in the medical centre. Although it's nice, I'm glad it's got a surcharge, as it's going to put me off coming here too often. This is a bar that goes up to Central Park, which I'll explore later. Every half an hour it comes back down again. Another extra is alcoholic drinks package that I purchased for $50 a day, but the problem is my wife has to take the same package and she only drinks soft drinks, which that package is $20. That's about $60 extra for me that I've had to pay per day. That means I need to drink about 10 beers a day, and I like a beer, but I'm not doing that every single day. And just nip back to the room, my case has finally arrived. And we've found a duck too, so if you've ever done a cruise before, you'll know the duck thing. Just realised this might not be for us.
I'll keep it anyway.
Should we put it back? There we go. Day 2, and don't you just love waking up at 5 AM due to jet lag? But it's a great opportunity to check the fitness track out 4 floors down on deck 5. This is the first running track that I've been on a ship, which is inside, underneath the decks, which I think is a really good idea because out in the daytime, it's going to be really hot upstairs, especially out here. And this is really humid down here, so I don't know if you can win or not, humidity or just plain hot. Well, this is 1.5 laps is a kilometre, so if you want to do that 5k run in the morning, 7.5 laps, but not for me. I'm a walker, not a runner. You can also access the gym from this track as well, which for a cruise ship gym is as big as you will ever need if you really want to do exercise while you're on holiday, vacation, whatever you want to call it. And again, it's not that busy, so there's plenty of equipment that is free to use. Now after that rare exercise, it's up to the infamous Windjammer buffet on deck 15, which, going off the reviews, can get a little bit of hate. Well, this is a good start. It's great to see enforcement of the hands washy. But at 7 AM, it's pretty quiet. The food is fresh out as well. Overall, really good. Although, I want to know who's eating potato curry for breakfast. For me, it's waffles, normal breakfast. We've done nearly 400 miles and that's halfway to our first stop tomorrow at Port Canaveral in Florida. No surprise though with the humidity, and I think this is going to be an ongoing thing. As we hit the afternoon after last night, I've quickly realised the drinks package is probably not going to be value for money, so I'm going to try and rectify that. But only one, as it is time to check out deck 15 and 16. Starting at the Windjammer, where we had breakfast at 7 AM, at the aft of the ship, down the port side, there's a decent sized pool with loads of lounges, which is pretty rare on cruise ships, the ones I've been on recently anyway. And a bar where I can go through my drinks package, and another pool, and a whirlpool. Going back on myself now, looking down I can see the rear section of Central Park, and on the other side, the forward section of the same Central Park. And moving over to the starboard side, another pool. Plenty of cabanas, which I think they're called casitas or something like that on here. Prices vary for these, but it's just a lot of money, like well over $100 and sometimes $500 and probably somewhere in between. If you're going to want to get one of these, best check the price yourself. Don't go off what I say. And looking back at the pool section, where there are no available lounges, because you probably have to get out here at 8 o'clock to get one of those. And there at the forward of the ship is an adults only solarium, which I'll walk through when I go down to 15. And taking a cut through here, there's one of the many eateries on board called Hooked. But I don't think they really need to say it's seafood, you know, I get the idea. And that brings me out onto the port side again with plenty of lounges. What is it with all these lounges? I'm used to being on ships where there's no lounges. This is weird. And we've got the water slides, which, you know, at my age, I'm not too sure I'm going to be using these, but it's good to know they're here. And now back to where I started and diving down to deck 15, which is going to be a lot busier. At 1 PM there's nowhere left to sit here, which is no surprise. And a closer look at Central Park. Some live music to keep the guests entertained. And yet another look at Central Park. What is it with me and looking at Central Park? And forward of deck 15 is the solarium, which, going off the other guest reviews, is a nice place to be. It's adults only. Although for me, I don't know, I'd rather be out in the fresh air rather than inside what feels like a greenhouse. Although this bar and the lack of kids, it's pretty enticing, I won't lie. We are booked into the Solarium restaurant, which is no extra charge. You just got to make sure you get an actual booking, which is, you know, it's not easy. And it's a small plates type of buffet format. Salmon, calamari, chops, and the big question is, can I resist a dessert? Day 3, and that could quite possibly be the MSC Meraviglia again, which has followed us down from New Jersey. The rocket towers of Cape Canaveral are clear to see as we approach Port Canaveral, and with an arrival time of 1:30 PM, that's plenty of time to try out what is, according to TikTok, the best kept secret on Symphony of the Seas. The fact that you can get breakfast in Johnny Rockets for free is really, really good. Well, it's in with your cost of your cruise money. You know, it's not actually free because you've paid for your cruise. Although there's a 30-minute wait, so I'm not waiting. It's 2 decks up to Park Cafe in Central Park, which, like I said before, I'll explore later on in the video. But this is a hidden gem for sure because it's really quiet compared to the Windjammer, and the food is, well, it's great. So this looks like a Mackey's muffin, but tastes better. So this guy here to the side of me, one of the many staff on here that keep the ship looking absolutely immaculate, and his job is to keep the port side of deck 16 clean. So cleaning windows and just tidying up in general. I presume you get all your food paid for, your accommodation. You might have to pay for internet extra. And I'm presuming again, it's all tax-free income. So would I rather be a window cleaner on a cruise ship or a window cleaner in the UK? I think I've made my mind up. And it's nice to see at 10 o'clock in the morning you can actually get a lounger on here. Not like the MSC Virtuosa, which is up here. That was bad. I was thinking of having a go at this water slide, but just looking at these panes here, these like sections, surely that's safe. They're not going to fall out, are they? Or maybe they do. Anyway, might have a go next week. There's still an hour to go, so might as well go through some more of this drinks package. Although the weather has a different idea than what I plan to do, which is a bit of sunbathing. So for the first time, might as well try out the Windjammer for lunch. And sitting here at the back of the ship, I realise I've missed out the sports section. So walking down the starboard side, past the Mexican takeaway, which looks like there's a pretty long wait, so I'm going to have to try that out later. And then coming out onto the absolutely huge ball court, and that brings me out to the back of the ship, right at the back, can't go any further, the Flow Rider, where you can try out your surfing skills. And these are the dry slides that go all the way down to the boardwalk deck, which I haven't actually seen anyone use yet. So I don't know if they're not working or whatever, or they're just that scary that no one's willing to use them. And there's another flow rider at the back. And a bar too, so why not? Yeah, now I've had a beer, this looks pretty easy, but seeing though I need to finish the rest of the video off. I don't need a trip to the medical centre. And then to finish off, there's Crazy Golf. The weather's not going any better, so it's 2 o'clock. We decided to stay on board and get wet on here instead. But even so, the weather's going to get even worse because they've closed all the pools because I think we're going to get some thunder and lightning. But it's not all bad because we've found a couple of ducks as well. There we go. Proof that we can find the small ones, just can't find them big ones. While the weather's been really bad today, I'm going to explore the rest of the ship starting on deck 8. And this has got to be one of the best places on the ship for peace and quiet. I mean, I don't even want to talk too loud here because there's a couple of people sat around there just enjoying the peace and quiet. And I don't want to go ruining it. And now making my way towards the front of the ship through the elevators and into Central Park finally. Here's the first of the speciality dinings, which basically you have to pay extra for. The Chops Grill, which serves, well, chops I think, and grilled stuff. And every time I walk through here, for some reason, I feel the need to look up. Like I was looking down before, now I'm looking up. But it just reminds me that I'm actually inside a ship, but also outside as well. It's weird. And back around to the opposite side from the Chops Grill, there's another speciality dining with 150 I think it's called, and it serves, I don't actually know, I'll have to check. And this is the elevator style bar that we sat on the first night that comes up and down from deck 5. It's a bit of a novelty, but it's pretty good. Another nice little bar in the park, very, very chilled out, quiet space to be. And you have to admire the fact that we're in a real park with real trees and real bushes and stuff on a cruise ship. And then we have yet another speciality dining with Jamie's Italian restaurant, which is opposite the park cafe where you can get breakfast and lunch and stuff like that. Then another look up again at the water slides, which are on deck 15. Another bit of chilled seating there if you want some peace and quiet. And then coming on to Vintages, which again, I don't actually know what this one is. And it finishes off with Bulgari, Hublot and Cartier if you want to spend an absolute fortune. And then a couple of decks down we have the Vitality Cafe, which from what I can see is just a health cafe serving juices and all that kind of stuff. And then on the other side, the salon and things you would expect to see, nails, beauty products, etc, etc. I'm finishing with the fitness centre, which you can access from here or from the running track. Sorry I went in because now my wife's getting the nails done. Wait for this. This is normally about £30 at home. How much is it here?
$109.
So that works out at nearly 3 times the cost at about £85. So we're still on deck 6 and the boardwalk is right over there, but we have to go down past the rooms to get to it because there's no other way as far as I can see to get there. When I do these walkarounds, I normally do them on my own, and I know why now, because every deck is not going to cost me any money. I get the odd beer, but I've got the drinks package, so it's not going to cost me any money. Bring the wife. Well, she keeps bringing up the fact that when we was in Miami last year, it was $180 to get the nails done, so she's saying now that $100 is cheap.
That's cheap.
It ain't cheap. And now at the back of deck 6 is the boardwalk, which I absolutely love. It's outside, it's got that boardwalk arcade feel, it's got a hot dog house, sweet shop, big sweet shop actually, with a lot of sweets. Carousel, merry-go-round, whatever you want to call it. And again, every time I'm inside, I'm outside, which is, to me, feels like the best bits of the ship. You don't feel like you're on a cruise ship, but you are. It's a good mix. And it has a small arcade attached to it. Stay.
Come on.
If you can't find what you want, buy what you want. And there's Johnny Rockets again. And they are the dry slides from the top deck, which bring you down from, well, the top deck. And rule number 1 is, every time you walk past the bar, you have to have a drink. Well, I don't want to get kicked off for breaking the rules, do I? An outside water theatre, which is extremely difficult to get into. And then the climbing wall. Something else I think I should do, but I don't know. Something else that I think I'm being overconfident, even though he has just got to the top. And then walking back, there's a couple of things that are still left on deck 6. So as you can see, this is the shore excursions area. Pretty big, really big actually, massive. So you can book all the stuff. And We've already booked ours. Tomorrow we're swimming with pigs. And then if you make it out of the excursions place unscathed, then you could go into the schooner bar, which looks really nice, but seeing we've had a couple of beers in the other place, probably best to move along while we're doing so well. Now on deck 5 we walk into or onto the Royal Promenade, which feels like the centrepiece of the ship. There's the robotic drinks maker, and there's a lot of photo shoots going on tonight. The bar where we were in the first night that goes up and down to Central Park. One of the many shops on this level. Guest services, cafe promenade for tea, coffee, stuff like that. The Royal shop for everything Royal Caribbean. The next cruise where you can book, well, your next cruise at a discounted rate. Grab a pizza in Sorrento's, which is inclusive in your cruise price. Copper and Kettle, which is a British style pub. More shops if you really feel the need to indulge. And another bar with a nice atmosphere, entertainment and nice comfortable seating. It's good to have a Starbucks on board, but it does cost extra. And another bar which I haven't actually been into yet. And it brings you out to the elevators. So clearly didn't get the memo about the white party. I don't know what happens, presumably there's a party somewhere. So that is what I think is most of deck 5, Royal Theatre at the end, which I can't go in because I don't have a reservation for tonight's show. Looks like this lot didn't get the memo either. We're in Nassau today in the Bahamas, and it's where they register all the yachts and boats and cruise ships, presumably for tax purposes. And talking of cruise ships, we have a Carnival, Freedom and a Disney Dream cruise ship next to us this morning. Anyway, more importantly, we've got swimming with the pigs today, which is the only excursion we bought on this cruise. Hopefully it's worth it. We get offered water as we disembark, and it was a good idea because we have a bit of a wait before we can get going on this excursion to see the piggies. We've got our wristbands and lunch tickets ready, and we just need to go, which eventually we do, and we go over to another smaller vessel which will transport us over to the Biggie Island. It's about 30 minutes ride over with some interesting sights. And we've arrived, but only to get on another boat to take us the very short trip over to see the piggies. And there they are, exactly as described, pigs on the beach. And believe it or not, there's a safety briefing, and it's a good thing as one of the pigs weighs 700 pounds, so if that one stands on your feet or your toes, it's going to hurt. And here are the piggies ready to go, but they have to swim to earn their food. We've had our fun and photos, the piggies have been fed, they're dead happy, and now we have to see if the captain can get the boat off the beach.
What's your name?
That's the pigs done, well worth the money, but I'll add it all up at the end and I'll tell you the total cost. And just come to this private, well, I don't know what it is, it's like a private beach thing that we're going to spend another couple of hours at, and it's deserted. I bet there's, on this side of the island bit, there's probably, I don't know, a dozen people. And it's a shame really because it's absolutely beautiful. Water's super clear, the weather's brilliant, it's a bit cloudy but on the whole really, really hot. Nice breeze. It's a shame there's not many more people here because, yeah, it's a nice place. As you can hear, weather's been a little bit naughty now. Thunder, lightning, real big lightning actually. So we're not allowed in the sea anymore. And I'm just glad that we did the pigs first thing rather than now because might have cancelled it. As usual, the rain turns up, but we made it back unscathed. Shame I can't say the same for my cruise card. It's melted.
Oh.
Not as bad as
With
that
the
one.
heart.
Yeah, humidity.
Okay.
Thank you. Pigs was, it was really, really good. Well worth the money. And I'll go through that at the end because I want to add it all up in one go rather than just doing it bit by bit. Anyway, a little bit of feedback on the pigs. You have to sign a disclaimer before you go onto the pig beach. And I now know why. It's because the pigs drop their guts basically. And you're swimming in it. And you don't realise you're swimming in it until you sort of like realise you're swimming in it. So they probably just don't want to come back for sickness or anything you're going to catch. So if you're going to do it, be prepared to swim in poo as well. Back on the boardwalk, I'm deciding whether it's worth lining up to get into this water show, which is completely sold out before we even got on the ship. So, you know, there's two sitting, I think it's 8:30 and 10:30, and we couldn't get into either. And it was the right choice to stay at the bar, grab some popcorn, which is $2.50 surcharge, chicken and chips, which is $6.99 extra as well. But a decent portion size and pretty good. And then everyone has gone in and we've walked in straight behind. Saves us an hour and a half waiting, standing in a line. I've got to stand up though, but it's better than nothing. And the show was really, really good, as the reviews suggested. So it's an early one today, 7:30. We got here at 7 o'clock at the private island. Perfect day at Coco Cay. Now I think it should be pronounced Coco Key, because that's how it is pronounced. The K is a key, but Royal Caribbean have pronounced it K to match with day. This is our first time here, so it's best to get a map from guest services. Compared to yesterday, it's a really short walk off the ship to the beach club. And this morning we're going to have the Wonder of the Seas joining us at Coco Cay. Another of the many photo ops, and these guys are happy to see us. We're heading over to South Beach, which is on the other side of the island. So they did say get here early and you'll get a seat somewhere like a lounger, but this place looks absolutely massive. A 15-minute walk to South Beach. So it's not small, well it is an island, it's a small island, but still a big small island. And if we get here now and there's no seats, I'll be amazed, because it's 8:30 in the morning. And if you don't like spiders, look away now.
Ed, put your hand next to it.
Oh, that thing's gonna go across the trail. Oh.
It's a big spider. Well,
That's a garden web.
it's a spider.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Oops. This thing is as big as this feet. Ed, keep your eyes peeled. You go first.
So I would say that was more like a 10-minute walk rather than 15. Not too far. There is a trolley to get you down here, like a bus thing. And I don't think we needed to get here this early. Pretty dead. Which is good for us. At least we don't have to fight for a lounger. We got some basketball nets. Don't want to be playing basketball in this weather. So it's 10 to 9, and although there's loads of loungers left, you ain't getting the ones at the front, you know, right on the sea. They're all taken. And then these are all some, by the looks of it, little private, I don't know what you call them, beach hut things. God knows how much they are. Take a wild guess though. 500 a day. That floating bar looks inviting, but as usual, the weather has other ideas. And yes, it's raining again, but these showers don't tend to last too long, hopefully. Which it didn't, so I'm going to see what the food is like. And it works exactly the same here as it does on the ship. Food is included, which is pretty good for basic beach food. So after a few hours here at South Beach, it's time to explore the rest of the island. Although I'm not going to go to the adults only hideaway beach, as they wanted about $100, I think it was. So $200 to go and sit on a beach, no thanks. I'm going to walk around the other side and show you as much as I can. So it's back through the way we came in, but I'm not hanging around here again to see that spider. So on we go. And with this intense heat, I think I should have used the free bus to get around. The Oasis Lagoon looks good, so maybe if I came back here again, I'd probably try that out. And another massive pool, which really gives you the indication of how big this resort really is. Moving over to the outer edge, I find some sensible people riding the trolley bus. But I'm going to be sensible and grab a drink. Well, this is a well-earned drink. And this is probably going to be strong, and it is. I'm moving out towards the top left section of the map, finds Breezy Bay. And then walking a bit further down is Breeze Island. Before we cross the bridge that takes us back to the ship, there are a few shack shops. Absolutely no way people are buying sweatshirts around here. Because I don't know if you can tell, it's pretty hot. I'm all for supporting the locals, but $48 for a snorkel. But that is probably the best $10 you'll ever spend here in the Bahamas. Because every day we've been here it's rained. And wow, look at that for the view. Both ships. Wonder of the Seas, Symphony of the Seas. Both Oasis class. And as you can see from the back, they look pretty similar. Well, obviously Symphony is the front end, but it's got the same type of slide going all the way down. Same type of water show feature at the back. The running deck on deck 5. And yeah, they're not fat. I think they're probably the same size. And going over the bridge overlooks Harbour Beach, where you can do a zip line as well. And then carrying on a bit further down, we're back at where we entered the island. Thrill Water Park is another pay extra to enter. And I would say that's the only negative really out of this whole cruise, that you've got to pay extra for some bits on CocoCay instead of getting it all in with your cruise money. But so now I know why they've called it Perfect Day. It's not Perfect Day on the actual island, which is pretty good. It's Perfect Day on the ship as well. You can get in all the pools, the whirlpools, the water slides. You can get to the bar without waiting for anything. So overall, it's Perfect Day everywhere. Apart from you have to pay extra for some stuff, but you know, they've got to make some money somewhere, I suppose. I'm so dumb. I was just thinking, oh yeah, there's Wonder of the Seas going. It's not them going, it's us going. Forget what I've just said. I'm not dumb. It is them going. It just felt like we were going for some weird reason. And yes, it's raining again. I knew I should have bought that poncho. 5 minutes later, the rain has stopped and we are leaving port as well. Definitely an island that I would love to come back to one day. And seeing that the ship is very quiet on deck 15, I'm going to try out the Mexican food. This is deck 4, which I've saved coming to until the end of this week, which you'll realise why in a minute. It has the attic, which I believe is the comedy club, but maybe it should be called the basement. And the Crown Lounge, but you'll have to be a much higher status than mine to get in here. And this is why I've been avoiding this place all week, the casino, which there are 2 separate walkways to get into it. So I'll take the right hand side, as this one takes me into the non-smoking side. Past all these amazing looking artworks, and can you imagine the tip cost on all these? And here we have the casino, but I'm not allowed to film. Okay. So I just told off for filming at the casino, so you'll have to take my word for it. It's pretty big and it's a bit stinky as well. But I am allowed to use my drinks package. And win as well. Johnny Rocket's the best kept breakfast secret on the ship, Symphony of the Seas, is not a secret anymore because tried again this morning. 9:45 this time, thought I'd leave it a little bit later, and there's a half an hour wait, which is fine. I was fine waiting, but it closes at 10. It's going to take 2 days to get back to New Jersey, and again, the weather is not being kind. Now I know why there's umbrellas at the doorway going on to Central Park. This rain is heavy. Definitely like being at home. There's one thing on Central Park that's really, really dangerous. If you step off these blue mats, it's slippy. And up on deck 15, it really is the perfect storm. Deck 16 is actually closed off, but there are people braving the weather and reserving lounges as well, so in this weather that's either optimistic or really stupid. You decide. So there is one really, really good thing on this ship. You can fill a laundry bag with as much as you can get in there, and it costs how much? $35, which is an absolute bargain. They don't iron it, obviously, but it's a wash and fold. 19 t-shirts, shorts, towels, socks, underwear. I don't even know how she's got it all in, but she has. There's still space to get something else in there. We've arrived back into New Jersey, and I was going to end the video here, but because we got offered a great deal on the second week, we're going to do what's called a back-to-back, which means we basically do the same as what we've just done on the first week. Unfortunately, we have a massive hurricane coming up from God knows where in the Atlantic, and it's coming up through Florida, and we've got to go towards Florida to get to the Bahamas. So Royal Caribbean have said we can't take you there because it's too dangerous. So we're going to go somewhere completely different, like Canada. So yeah, we're off to Canada, 1,000 miles in the opposite direction, going towards the cold, not the warm. And I've just packed t-shirts and shorts, which is definitely not my fault this time. Not like the Norwegian Fjords cruise in August, where I did actually not check the weather. So we're going to go to Sydney in Nova Scotia, which I only thought there was one Sydney in the world, which is in Australia. And then we're going to go down to Halifax in Nova Scotia as well. And then we're going to come back to New York. And then at the end of the video, the proper end, I'm going to work out what the total cost is. But there has been some changes. We've had a great deal. We had a casino comp thing, and the drinks package on the first week wasn't the best, so I've done something different this week. Anyway, there's loads of different things. I'll work it out all at the end. But it's not all bad. Royal Caribbean have said, we'll give you $75 cruise credit. How generous. You know, for a complete change of itinerary. But $75 will fix it. And supposedly there's 1 day back of the cruise as well, which is about $200. But I don't know about that. I'm going to have to see guest services. But in theory, $275 back. Is that worth the change of direction? Well, only time will tell. But before we go off to pastures new, because we're in the US, we can't just stay on the ship between cruises. We have to disembark and check in with immigration, then we can get back on the ship. The whole process takes about 45 minutes, and now we're ready to go, and seeing this bridge again doesn't get boring. Well, the clientele has definitely changed this week, because last week we didn't have any of that rubbish outside. I mean, putting rice all over the floor, come on. And on the stairs as well. Didn't notice any of this last week at all. It was spotless. I'm just going to have a quick walk around the track because we've not really done anything today. And this is completely different as well. You can tell you're going north now because no humidity at all. It's still pleasant, like 20 degrees, but yeah, this is definitely better. This place is dead. Again, complete contrast to last week. We left New Jersey on Sunday and today is Tuesday, so we're arriving into Sydney, Nova Scotia. But as you can see, it doesn't look like we're anywhere near port, and you'd be right thinking that, because we're not. And that right over there is Nova Scotia, and we're 24 nautical miles away from it. And if you can tell, we're not actually moving because the port over there in Sydney isn't big enough for us. So the dock issue is problem number one. Problem number two is we can't now go back in the opposite direction because the hurricane is supposedly around that area as well. So for our own safety, we've got to stay out here in the middle of nowhere for a few days. It's now Thursday, and that's 5 days since we left New Jersey. But there's only a certain amount of karaoke I can do. But seriously, we can't really use the outside areas. It's just too cold, 11, 12 degrees. Not really sunbathing weather, is it? And we've not been able to dock anywhere, so we're literally stuck inside the ship. So I might as well wrap up with a few of the things that are a little bit annoying, including that little squeak. It's a squeaky bed, and what I said about at the beginning of the video, this bed mattress doesn't look very substantial. It's not. It's quite thin. Not the most comfiest over a period of time. Although the laundry is really, really cheap, I think, at $35 per bag. There's no iron or steamer. You have to pay extra for that. And when we first got the room, I didn't realise how small this safe was. It's more or less just good enough for jewellery. This isn't a complaint, it's just an observation. The running track, it is really, really humid down there, especially when you're Florida and south. it's unpleasant to say the least. And the elevators, what can I say? Just the same as any other cruise ship. You're lucky if you can get in. And if you do, capacity 24. Now, we had 20 in at one point, and that ain't nice either. Getting into the free dining areas, booking in is really, really difficult. The paid ones, you can get in them no problem, but obviously you've got to pay extra for those. And the soda package, when you get these cups that are refillable at the soda machine, quite a few times they've been out of drinks, and when I went this morning at the cafe, the park cafe, it was completely broke, so yeah, it's not very good. And coming back to the laundry, if you do decide to use the casino, you're going to need to use the laundry because it does really smell pretty bad in there. Even though there's a smoking side and non-smoking side, the whole lot doesn't smell great, to be honest. The first week was spectacular. Can't tell you how good it was. Second week, not so much. The only reason being is the weather. If the weather was nice, it would not have been a problem. We could have used the top decks. It's the fact that we're all stuck inside. Everybody. And after what feels like an absolute eternity at sea, we're finally moving again. We have literally been going around in squares for the last few days. Where we're actually going to, I don't really know. Hopefully it's Halifax. We're finally here, Halifax, and I actually thought it was going to be really cold, but it's nice. So this place is really confusing me now. So as you can see, waterfront, boats, nice properties overlooking the water. It's going to be expensive, right? No, completely the opposite. So I've just going to the beer garden. Yes, actually called the beer garden, and got 2 large Cokes. Well, 3 actually, because it was free refills. Salsa and chips with an 18% tip. It worked out in GBP, £7.88. What the hell? £7.88 for all that. That's too cheap. Even though I wasn't actually that bothered about coming to Canada, I'm glad I've come here now because it just reinforces the fact that now I know we're definitely getting ripped off in Britain. So the time has come to find out how much this 2-week cruise has cost. So this is the first week that I had to get printed off because for some reason it's not on the app anymore. Second week, I'll go through the app. This is in no particular order because some of it's on my wife's account and some of it's on mine. So as you can see, the onboard gratuities, $18.50 a day each. So that works out at $260 for the first week just in automatic tips. We got Starbucks, Surf Shack, which I don't actually know what that was. I think it was something that my wife bought, probably. $25 on laundry. They did us a discount on that because it should have been $35. So how that's happened, I do not know. $500 there, that was the casino. The only money we put in the casino, we did actually come out $1,000 up that first week. Playmakers, that was $18 for some fries and nachos and chicken. Johnny Rockets, $37 for that. That was obviously that first day. Starbucks. All the gratuities again, a couple of dollars in the arcade, and the Coco Case shop was, my wife bought something, the lanyard thing for the card, for the cruise card, and Solera, I think that was just some products that she bought, some hair stuff or whatever. Total $995. So if you take the tips out of the equation and the $500 in the casino, spent about $250 that first week. But there's still some cost to add on from that first week. The drinks package for the beers, $700 for that first week, and the internet for 2 devices, $238. Yeah, pretty expensive, but wait for it. Swimming with the pigs, $371. But all that is subject to gratuities of $125, which I'm not quite sure how they've worked that out because normally it's 18%, but that works out at less than 10%, which, bargain. But the second week was absolutely disastrous, not because we were sat off the coast of Canada for 6 days going round in squares. It was because I got a little bit bored and overindulged in the casino and spent far too much money. And I don't know why I stood up for that because this is definitely a sit-down job. Before I tell you the total cost of the second week, I'm going to tell you what we got back. Refundable onboard credit, poor air tax credit. So because we didn't dock, $28 back, not too bad. Got the usual $18.50 a day, times 2, times 7. So another $260 in tips for the second week. I worked it out on here, the beers at $9.43 with the tip, the 18%. It worked out about 4.5 beers a day, so did save about $250 by not getting that drinks package. So definitely paying it as I go worked out better for the second week. Then we got the $75 back for the just the credit because we didn't dock in Sydney. And then we paid for the internet again for the second week, $240. We got the drinks package, but just the soft drinks. That worked out at $260. And there's tips in that, obviously, like I said before. Then there's an absolute load of $500 in the casino deposits. And rather than just going through and adding them all up, I'll just tell you the total price. $7,000 for that second week. I can't believe I got that bored and spent it wasn't 7,000 because take all the little bits and pieces off drinks package and stuff. Probably about five. Let's go with five. No, it's probably $6,000 in a casino. Wow. And they also offer to say, if you've had an amazing service, you can tip some more. So I've worked that out to be about $700 in tips over the 2 weeks, and I just hope that the amazing staff on this ship do actually see that money. And if anybody deserves to see a decent amount of that money is our cabin guy, because he's made us every other day these amazing looking towel creatures, if that's what you want to call them, but they're really, really good. But it's not all negativity on spending all that money. If we rewind a week, the reason we stayed on for the second week is because we got a free cruise from spending all that money in the casino on the first week. Even though we were $1,000 up, all we had to do was pay the port taxes of around $300 to stay on for that second week. And then because we gambled, obviously lost the load on that second week, we got offered another free cruise. And then because the total gambling over the 2 weeks, we've gone up to this other level, which gives you an annual free cruise as well. So that's 3 free cruises. So in total, that's about, I reckon, $5,000 worth of free cruises. And the whole 2 weeks, maybe it's cost about, I don't know, $9,000, so about $4,000 out of pocket, really. Had a great time though, 2 weeks, really good time. Not $4,000 worth of good times, but we now get free drinks as well in the casino, so if I can do $4,000 worth of free drinks, then might be about level.